On the topic of PlayStation, I sure as hell can't end the day off without talking about Ratchet and Clank's 15-year anniversary. So when I'm asked to name a more iconic duo than those Kardashian cunts, I'm going to say Ratchet and Clank, because those guys were the best, man. Ratchet and Clank was probably one of my favorite game series as a kid. I remember playing the shit out of it during the PS2 days. The first game I played, of course, was the first Ratchet and Clank game. Then I played the second one. Then I played Ratchet Deadlocked, which was kind of like a spin-off of Ratchet and Clank, but I thought that was fun. And I played the other guns on the PS2. I played Size Matters, which I thought was the funniest thing ever as a kid. I'm like, ha 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 ha, Size Matters. I just loved, as a kid, I loved the subtle humor that they put in with the game. It's just the writing in the game was awesome. I admired it even as a kid, and I admired it even more, as an older person. And when it comes to gameplay, it's one of the best platformers of all time, especially Ratchet and Clank: A Crack in Time, the PS3 game. That's probably one of my. If I had to make a list right now of my top 5 favorite platformers, that game would be up there in the list, along with games like Sonic Adventure that I grew up with, and the Nickelodeon platformer games that I also grew up with as a kid. Those games were fucking amazing. SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, Fairly Odd Parents, Breaking the Rules, Jimmy Neutron, Attack of the Twonkies. I can name all these Nickelodeon games. They were fucking amazing. But Ratchet and Clank, Crack in Time, was fucking awesome. It really was awesome, because back then, I was in 6th grade, and that was when I was starting to kind of shy away from platformers and stop giving a shit about platformers and go more towards FPS games like Modern Warfare. But that game really kept me hooked for somebody who was, getting away from those types of games and getting more into more mature games. So, yeah, if I had to pick the best game in the Ratchet and Clank series, it would definitely be A Crack in Time. The other PS3 games I played All for One, which I didn't care much for. It was that co-op game that they came out with. The new one I never played, the PS4 one. I heard mixed reviews about that game. I heard a lot of great things about it, and I also heard a lot of not so great things about it. It's been many, many, many years since we've gotten like a solid entry in the Ratchet and Clank series. So it's a shame. It's definitely declined a lot, this series, and it's a shame because it's definitely one of my favorite game series ever. And for a while, when PlayStation lost the Bandicoot, its mascot Crash, the Lombax, Ratchet, and Clank as well were carrying the PlayStation brand for a while. It was one of the PlayStation brand's hottest prospects besides Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper, and those other games. Ratchet and Clank was up there. And man, while I'm thinking about all these different PlayStation exclusive games that we've had during the PS2 and even into the PS3 era, it's really a shame that these titles haven't had much of a presence on the current generation, on the PS4. Ratchet and Clank only had one PS4 game, and it was only made to promote the movie, which I've never seen. Which I guess I'm not a real Ratchet and Clank fan if I haven't seen the movie. I just didn't care to see it. I don't know. I don't know if it was any good. I don't know anybody who's actually watched it. I don't even know if it was a box office success. I don't know. I know that it came out. I just never bothered seeing it for whatever reason. But from the top of my head, if I had to come up with my favorite Ratchet and Clank games, of course, I've already said that my first favorite game was the Crack in Time. It was just such a beautiful, beautiful game. It was awesome. It was amazing. It was probably one of the best PS3 games I've ever played. Never mind the best Ratchet and Clank game. Never mind one of the best platforms. Probably one of the best PS3 games I've ever played. Number 2 would probably be the first Ratchet and Clank game. Number 3 would probably be Up Your Arsenal. And number 4 would probably be, let me think, probably Future Tools of Destruction, the first one that came out in the PS3. That was a good one. I did like the spin-offs. I liked Ratchet Deadlocked. I liked Secret Agent Clank. I thought those were cool games. And I also liked Size Matters. I think that was also kind of like a spin-off because it was originally just like a PSP game. It wasn't really in the main series, I don't think. But that was also another good one. But as far as all the other games in the series, I either have no opinion of, or I just didn't care for them too much, or I didn't like them, or I never played them. Like, I never played Into the Nexus. I never played a few other titles, I believe. And the other ones I have played, I just don't have a strong opinion about. I don't hate them, but I don't love them either. Like, All for One. And I'm I'm probably forgetting some other game in the series, but whatever. That's pretty much my list of my favorite Ratchet and Clank games. Like, I know after so many entries in a particular series, a developer has to move on. I know the Ratchet and Clank series wasn't, like, officially discontinued, but they don't really make too many games in the series anymore, and they don't really seem too focused on making more of them. But that's a shame, because Ratchet and Clank is a solid platform series. It's one of my favorites. And happy 15 years to Ratchet and Clank. Man, I can't believe Ratchet and Clank is almost old enough to drive. How fucking old does that make you guys feel? Now, I'm sure a lot of the people who are subscribed to me weren't even born yet when these games came out, weren't even born when the PS2 was out. But to the people who are, even in my age, I'm only 19 years old, and I'm already feeling old because Ratchet and Clank is 15 years old. And all these other games that I've played are getting really fucking old now, like really old. But if you are like me and have a lot of great memories of the Ratchet and Clank series, leave them in the comments down below. Share your experiences. What's your favorite Ratchet and Clank game? What are your favorite moments in the series? Just have a nice little discussion going in the comments. And again, happy 15 years to Ratchet and Clank. Let's hope for 15 more.